Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aging and Spirituality. And our goal is to help you enjoy a more fun-filled, meaningful, fulfilling life at any age. It doesn't matter. I have a mother-in-law who's 99 and she's having a great time.
Oh boy, yeah. I hope I
Yeah.
get that.
So I'm Chris Jensen, and this is
I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
hopefully we're all having a great time at 99
Yeah.
and beyond. So, so we're going to talk today a little bit about, are you ready to forgive? I mean, do you ever find yourself regretting things you did or didn't do, people you hurt, or missed opportunities? If you do, you're like mostly everybody, especially people over 60, because we tend to reflect on some of those things. And as we age, forgiveness and reconciliation become especially meaningful spiritual themes in our lives. Would you like to experience greater closure, peace, and healing within yourself and in your relationship with others? If you do, stay tuned because we're going to share some tips that we know have worked for us and some things from yoga and other areas that can help you start an incredible journey of peace, love, and healing. So, I want to start talking about self-forgiveness because it starts there. Do you have regrets? Everybody struggles with regrets, and older adults are particularly impacted by it. Something you did or didn't do in a relationship? Or did you miss an opportunity for a relationship or a career opportunity and you're like beating yourself up? Self-forgiveness is absolutely essential to healing shame, lifting burdens, and allowing your inner peace, your love, your light to shine. We all have it. We just don't let it shine. I know people in their 60s who are still mentally beating themselves up about things they did when they were teenagers or in their
Oh,
20s or 30s, you
oh
know?
my gosh.
Yeah, and they're not at peace. They're not at peace until they practice self-forgiveness. We're going to do a yoga practice later. I don't want to do it now. I want to go over some other things first, but that is very dynamic in helping to forgive and get free from all of the anger and resentments that you may have towards others or yourself. There are lots of other things too that help: prayer, journaling, therapy, writing a letter to your younger self. All of those things are really beneficial. Um, I don't know, Kathy, do you have a story of self-forgiveness that you?
God, of course I do.
Yeah.
Like I want to pretend that I'm so far past all that stuff. It's not true. I think probably though that one of the things that I noticed when you were talking, I was thinking about forgiveness and why it is in our lives, why we have this opportunity to come up. And it's so much about understanding who we are. And like you said, forgiving ourselves for things that, we've really judged ourselves for. And so for me, uh, what would I say? The overall person that would kind of represent all the relationship experiences I've had in this lifetime would be my mother. And being able to forgive her is tough because she's not on the planet anymore. But my um, obstacles with her all had to do with wanting to be myself, but still having, of course, as a young person, the insecurities of not knowing how to do that, not
Mhm.
knowing how to empower myself, not knowing who I was, and all of those
Right.
things. And taking, the things that she said or did to heart that were very hurtful.
Mhm.
So every time, and it doesn't happen very often now, because she's not around and because I'm down the path quite a ways in terms of understanding who I am and being able to empower myself. But there are still times when it'll kick off a memory and I'll think, damn, if she hadn't done that, I wouldn't have wasted all this time doing this, fill in the blank kind of thing.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is every time you look back on those situations, they are the challenges that make you who you are. So whenever I feel like, I think about her being on the other side and, oh, what the heck? What if I ever meet her up on the other side again? Like, what am I going to say?
Mhm.
Yeah, I do have those thoughts, like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to like not punch her in the nose or whatever?
Yeah.
But, but Yeah, there are times that I still have to go through. I'm sure you're going to give some exercises. I remember reading, books about radical forgiveness way back when I was really doing intense work with those kinds of memories. And there's still times, well, I will pull those out sometimes and just have to do with the energy, just have to deal with the energy or the thought of holding on to, who she was and just letting it go again. So yeah, that would be my main example in my life. My mom represented a lot of those challenges for me.
Yeah, and it's hard because, you know, we, it's good to look at a time when you made a mistake and say, okay, I've changed my consciousness. I'm not going to do that particular thing that way anymore. The thing is, we hold on to feeling bad about it.
And
And
be judging ourselves.
judging ourselves. And so that's where we need to let go of the judgmentalness. Like we wouldn't necessarily judge another person as harshly as we often judge ourselves. We don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. And by, you know, working on it and the forgiveness practice we're going to do later towards the end of the podcast, it works for forgiveness for others, but also for self-forgiveness.
Nice.
So and it's very important. It's very important that we do that. And so then I want to talk a little bit about forgiving others. Someone who's caused deep pain doesn't always mean condoning their behavior. When you forgive, it doesn't mean you're condoning the behavior of the other person. It means choosing peace over resentment. As long as you're angry or resentful, you are not at peace. Your heart is not at peace. Your mind is not at peace. So you need to forgive. It doesn't mean you need to put yourself in harm's way
Mhm.
or to have a relationship with that person, but you need to forgive them. They're functioning at their level of consciousness. Ramakrishnananda, the yoga master of our yoga center, he always used to share a story about when he went into the woods and he was going to be in silence and do yoga practices for a period of months. And he was in a tent, and one day he came back and the raccoons had just ransacked everything. And his first reaction was he said, I was like ready to be really angry. And then he said, I realized they were just functioning at their level of consciousness.
Why didn't they do that? Because they're raccoons.
Right, right. And it's the same with people. They're functioning at their level of consciousness.
Right.
And the more you forgive, the more that kind of energy can move out to them. Spiritually, forgiveness is a way of releasing very toxic energy, letting go of the past, opening space for compassion. If you don't forgive, there isn't the space for compassion. Uh, in many traditions, Christianity, Buddhism, indigenous teachings, yoga, forgiveness is seen as one of the main paths to liberation and inner freedom. It's healing. It's healing at every level. It's healing mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually.
There's no doubt. And when you're talking about it, I realize that one of the reasons I held on and couldn't forgive um, wasn't because I couldn't see that they're raccoons. I could see that they were doing what they were doing, and I could, separate myself from that and
Yeah.
go, wow, that's just who they are. That's their level of consciousness. But there was a part of me for a long time that wanted to change that. I wanted to fix them. I wanted to help them before I moved on. I wanted to see that I could help raise that consciousness. I I hate to say it, but I think I wasted a lot of time doing that. I do. I feel like I
Well,
do. I mean, my
you,
heart was in the right place,
yeah.
and I developed compassion and all of those things. It did grow my ability to connect with people. The ego is so involved and the logic was just wrong. So if anybody out there is doing that, reconsider. Think about it. It's much healthier for you to let go.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, you're being putting poisons in your own system
Yeah.
on every level, not just physical. As long as we hold on to anger or resentment for someone who's hurt us, we're hurting ourselves and that other person, and we're not letting them go. Um, so when we do this yoga forgiveness practice, we're going to take you through a series of steps
Yeah.
that not only frees you because you're forgiving, but it might improve or change your relationship with that person if you choose. to still be in a relationship with them.
Yeah, and you young people that are listening, these are the cheat codes.
Yeah, yeah,
Young people always talk about what are the cheat codes?
yeah.
You're old, you're wise. Tell me what the cheat codes are. These are the cheat codes. Just listen. You're going to learn how to do it really quickly.
This
It's,
is a
you know,
really good cheat code.
yeah.
It really is. It really is. I mean, it's a hack that, you know,
That's the other word. It's a hack. The
yeah,
life
rather
hack.
than going through, slogging it out, here's something that can open a door. And if you're over 60, you don't want to waste time on this stuff. You want to do it. You want to get
Ever.
past.
Yeah.
So I know there was a person I worked with who I just found such an irritant with this person. He was the kind of person that was arrogant and always was putting people down and making it unpleasant. And I had just put him in my jerk category, just was,
Bully, sounds like a bully.
yeah, jerk category. And uh, and then one day I realized that, okay, I had him in my jerk category. So there was something really within me that needed to forgive, that needed to not be so judgmental. And so I did this practice, and it was so freeing because at the end of the practice, when I felt the release of the forgiveness, I also felt this other person's pain, and I had a whole different feeling about them. And just my new demeanor, which was, I had let go of all of my jerkness about them and the resentment. And there was now love and compassion, and it affected them.
It affected that person. He started
Affected
acting
them.
differently.
Yeah,
Wow.
it affected them. There was definitely, I wouldn't say it was like a 360 transformation, but there was definitely a change, a change in the
You
relationship. So
feel the energy for sure.
yeah,
You
there's
do,
there's a
whether
big,
they can
there's
talk
a big
about it.
difference in what we're putting out.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Mm.
then there's also the thing, as we get older, do we want to reconcile? You know, maybe we've been in a broken relationship. Maybe it was their fault, maybe it was our fault, maybe it's both people's fault. Um, whether it's family, friends, a loved one, a lover, a work relationship. The first step is always to forgive that person.
Mm.
Always. And then after you genuinely forgive, I wouldn't recommend reaching out before you do the forgiveness practice and genuinely forgive, but then reach out to an estranged family member. Try to make amends for if you've done something, try to do something for that person, try to do something healing. Um, and if there's someone who, you definitely have a forgiveness issue with, and they're older, do it before it's too late,
Yeah.
before they're gone, if you can.
Yeah.
Not all reconciliation is possible or healthy, but your intention to heal and release resentment is powerful. That's the powerful thing. Just that you are trying to heal and release this will make a huge difference. And there are a lot of spiritual practices. I want to do the yoga one last because I thought it'd be nice to end up on that. But there are a lot of spiritual practices that can help. Guided meditations or prayers for forgiveness, uh, rituals of release, like writing letters, burning symbolic items, things that mark your letting go, confessions in a sharing and safe community. Like Kathy and I can tell you that we have shared a lot of things. And that's very helpful.
Hmm.
Just to be able to share your story can be an act of reconciliation.
Be heard. To be heard is the other half of that.
Yeah,
To feel like you are heard. So many
yeah,
people don't even get that opportunity in their life, and that's a real shame. That's the thing about community that's so valuable.
yeah, it really is. It's so valuable. And there's a safe community. It could be a safe community of one person or 20 people, but you know, that's important. And journaling is good, keep a forgiveness journal, uh, your process of release. And then I wanted to share because I say, why forgive? Because here's some wisdom from different spiritual traditions. Christianity, Jesus' teachings often emphasize forgiveness. Forgive 70 times, 7 times. Buddhism, let go of resentment and anger, is seen as essential for reducing suffering. Practices like the loving kindness meditation cultivate compassion. Judaism, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, it involves deep reflection, apology, forgiveness between individuals and with God. You can be mad at God, you got to forgive.
Oh, yeah.
Indigenous traditions, they emphasize harmony, balance, restoration, often with community-based reconciliation practices. Islam, forgiveness from God and among people is a recurring theme in the Quran. But if you forgive and overlook and pardon, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful.
Yeah. There was actually something I wanted to ask you about in when you were talking about guided meditations and prayers.
Mm,
I often found that I was doing that kind of a giving offering in an arrogant kind of way. Do you know what I
mm,
mean by saying that? Like going into prayer, I do with a thought of, oh, I can fix this for you, or I can
yeah,
send you the right energy
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that is going to make your world the much better.
Mm,
And so it seems important that I bring that up in case other people are really struggling with that,
mm,
because the minute you realize that you really need permission,
mhm,
you know, to help somebody.
mm.
It's kind of like, and I think I've heard you talk about this, asking the soul, is it okay? Can I send you a prayer? Can I
Yeah.
send you good thoughts? Can I send you energy from my heart, and getting that feeling or idea that it's accepted, that it's okay? How does that work on a spiritual level?
Yeah, well, that's the big thing because the other person has to be receptive
Yeah.
for it to work.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you just work on it for yourself then. You know.
Do you
But you
think you
can't.
feel that? Can you feel that if you're like putting that out into the universe and say I'm thinking about a friend I know is hurting or really
Yeah.
struggling with something, and I want to send them a prayer. If I'm going inside and I'm just imagining who they are, and just seeing their pain, us intuitives can sense people's pain. We know what's going on with them. And if we just can ask for it on a very deep soul level, is it okay if I send you prayers? Can you open your heart to receiving my kind of love, that kind of thing? I think you get like feedback from that, like it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can sense. I mean, I can you can sense whether there's a resistance
Barrier there or not.
or
Yeah.
an openness.
Okay. That's what I was wondering about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can sense that. And sometimes people aren't open, and they have to learn a different way. But that doesn't mean you don't continue to
Yes.
share. Mhm.
Yeah, because like we have a prayer circle for the yoga center when people are ill and stuff, and I often think when you're praying for them, you can sense what's going on with their bodies and everything, and where is their consciousness? Like, how do you, connect in a way that you're giving them love in an appropriate way that they can receive, you know?
Mhm.
That seems like a very important thing to do, but for me, it's just getting right about it inside
Yeah.
when I'm doing it. That's the best that I can do. I can't or don't want to control the other end of it. I just want to
No,
know that I'm coming from the right place when I'm giving in that way.
right, right. You can't control it. I mean, it's only a gift, that's all. And it can be accepted or not.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking the other day about the shamanic principle of how natives always give before they take anything from the land,
Hmm.
whether it's prayer, song,
Yeah,
dance.
yeah,
It's that kind of thing, even in
yeah.
relationship.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's powerful. It's very
Very
spirit
powerful.
practice.
So now I would like to share the forgiveness practice I've been mentioning because
Okay.
I know it works because I've done it a bunch of times and it's just very effective. And I want to say this, um, forgiveness is not necessarily a one-time event. Sometimes it's slow. So you do this practice until you feel the sting go away.
Mm.
And when you feel it's gone, then you know. Mm.
Okay, but when you say the sting, I'm just stopping you because I'm not sure listeners will know what that means. We know what
I'm
that
going to get into
means,
that.
Oh, you're going to explain it. Okay.
We're going to explain it. Yeah. Yeah. So the first, but let's go into the practice and then I'll explain that part of it. So um, what you want to do is you close your eyes, relax, visualize this person sitting in front of you. And the first thing you say, you put out kind of to the universe, I have an open mind about this. The next thing, and this is where Kathy was talking about ego, where you need to have some humbleness. You say, I thank you for teaching me because whatever happened, you have learned something from it.
Yeah.
And may the best happen for both of us. And the final thing you say is, I let you go. Now, you should sense when you do this, when you say, I thank you for teaching me, you should feel an openness in the heart. And then when you're saying, may the best happen for both of us, that heart feeling should stay open. And after you say, I let you go, there should be some sense of freedom. If there isn't, if you're still feeling, you know, some of that energy of not forgiving, keep doing it. For some things, it's so deep, it doesn't work the first time. It works the second time. Keep doing it. Go back in there. I just went through this sort of quickly with you, but you should take your time. You may want to spend several minutes on I thank you for teaching me, because it may take a while for you to get that. But when you do, there's an openness. There's a feeling of openness.
If you don't feel that feeling of openness right away,
Hmm.
spend more time.
Take more time with it.
Spend more
Just
time.
spend more time with it. That's all. All you have to do is spend more time with it. It does work.
Yeah, it
It
will.
works. And in the end, you're saying, I let you go. So you're freeing both of you from this.
Yes. That's
So just more time as if you don't have that openness feeling.
yeah. That's
It's-
similar to the cord cutting practice, it's a letting go of
Mhm.
whatever has gone on between you. It's powerful.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that one. I did that while you were talking. It's good.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good. It's a good practice. It's really, really good. And I would do it longer, but I know people don't want to spend that much time.
Spend time listening to silence on air.
Right,
Oh
right. But
dear.
but take your time with it. Sit in a nice, comfortable chair and relax. Visualize, or even put a chair in front of you and visualize that person sitting in that chair in a relaxed mode, and give it some time. It will help you. You'll be so glad you did it.
I agree. I'm going to go do it myself.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was good. That's a
Have
powerful.
fun with it, listeners, and let us know if you like it or if you don't like it, if it worked for you. And come to our YouTube channel. You can like us and subscribe and comment. Let us know, what you like, what you didn't like, what's helpful.
Yeah. What are you struggling with? We want to know.
Yeah, we'd like to know. Maybe we can help. Maybe you can help us.
But we'll try. That's the important part.
Right.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye
Bye.
bye.